A reading from the book of Ecclesiastes. There is an appointed time for everything, and a time for everything under the heavens. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot the plant, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to tear down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them, a time to embrace, and a time to be far from embraces, a time to seek, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to rend, and a time to sow, a time to be silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. What advantage has the worker from his toil? I have considered the task that God has appointed for the sons of men to be busied about. He has made everything appropriate to its time and has put the timeless into their hearts, without man's ever discovering, from beginning to end, the work which God has done. The word of the Lord.
Timeless passage from Ecclesiastes. Our ancient author has a kind of wisdom that just pierces through the ages of time and speaks to us differently in different days that we live in. But He has made everything appropriate to its time. Right? We see, these example after example, all the different things that have their own time, their own season. Time to born, a time to die, time to plant, a time to uproot the plant, and so on and so forth. Everything has its own proper time. He has put the timeless into their hearts, without man's ever discovering, from beginning to end, the work which God has done. My takeaway from this is that all of these things, right, weeping, laughing, mourning, dancing, so on and so forth, they're all going to happen. And God's going to let them happen. And some of them are going to be because He's trying to bring about that certain thing. And some of them are going to come about because we're not listening to God and we're doing our own thing apart from Him. But that He's going to use all of it in His providence. That He has a way, as the sovereign Lord, of bringing about His will, whether or not we are cooperating with Him intentionally. That He can even use our rebellious nature to get to where He wants things to go in the long run. I think sometimes we underestimate just exactly what it means to be all-knowing and all-powerful. And yet, all-loving. If we put all-knowing and all-powerful in the hands of a human, we know that that's going to corrupt, that bad things are going to come from that. That's not who God is. It's not what God is. He's all-knowing, He's all-powerful, He's perfectly and infinitely loving, always, without fail. While He's allowing all of these things, these opposite things, to exist at the same time and pull reality in this difficult tension that we try to navigate, He has put something timeless into our hearts, even without us knowing it, right? That through this process of navigating the chaos of the world we live in, that he's still made himself omnipresent, even within our own hearts, even in the times where we don't feel it, even in the people who do not know it. After Koheleth goes through the litany of the different times, he says, "What advantage has the worker from his toil? I have considered the task that God has appointed for the sons of men to be busied about." And then he goes into everything having its own time. He's made everything appropriate to its time. What are we supposed to do? What advantage does the worker have from his toil? Well, knowing that whatever we're called to do, however we're called to respond to our place in history, that we can find peace by engaging it as God would have us do so. That we don't sit back and try to escape and wish that we were in some other time or some other circumstance, but to patiently, peacefully, lovingly accept what's right in front of us and to engage it as God would have us do. In that, there's great advantage.